Well, my pretties, here's a shit stain of a show that I never thought that I would say this, but it's pretty much something that I could have just, sat there and pretty much tear it to shreds a long time ago. But I didn't. And that show today we have is called Velma. Now, this show is pretty much a revival or kind of like a Scooby-Doo spin-off series. But yeah, there is a lot of reasons why Velma is just absolutely not the great ones. However, though, there's people that talk about their thoughts and opinions on Velma and how they could, make it better or anything. This isn't Scooby-Doo. This is the main reason. It isn't like Scooby-Doo cartoons, like, for example, What's New Scooby-Doo or Scooby-Doo Where Are You or anything like that. No, as a diehard Scooby-Doo fan, I've always loved the characters in the older shows and I've always found them funny. They're all stupid and have their own differences, but there is always a reason. Now, I've been watching Damien Skyfire's video on his opinion and thoughts and even tear the show Velma to shreds on his channel like I think a couple days ago. So I thought, you know what? Let me go ahead and tear this show a brand new one. Now, before I begin, I want to say right now, if you like Velma, I respect your opinion. But anyways, I'm going to sit here and get started on tearing apart this brand new show, Velma, into a new one. It is on HBO Max, for any of you guys who are wondering. So, yeah, I can definitely say right now, like, why can't this Velma show be good, like, I don't know, maybe Mystery Incorporated or something. The older Scooby-Doo shows were fantastic. And they even had brought what got Scooby-Doo there in the first place. Popularity. I mean, Hanna-Barbera would pretty much be disappointed in the whole show. Especially Velma herself. Like, I think we need to address some stuff that I want to say. Is that, why is Velma, I don't mean to sound racist or anything because I'm not, but why is Velma a different race? It honestly does not make sense because Velma's always been, white throughout the entire Scooby-Doo series. Like the live-action movies, which were really good, the Where Are You series, and etc. Velma's always been the way she is. But why does this new show Velma have to end up changing her race in that? I mean, seriously, like what the actual hell is whoever the creator is thought this was a good idea. I mean, I'm just criticizing how god-awful this show is. So today, guys, you get to see me rip apart this new show into a brand new one for the shit cake of god-awful shows and movies that I find that are garbage. Like, I would rather see a new Scooby-Doo series rather than seeing this garbage crap. Like, the characters don't even look as good as the original Scooby-Doo series did. Like, that's because what brought them together. Like, it's just honestly really stupid, in my honest opinion. Like, this isn't even part of the Scooby-Doo franchise. I feel that it's just a completely different show, or maybe just a ripoff or a knockoff of a Scooby-Doo show that they probably just didn't end up giving a crap. I mean, sure, I will say right now that if they do wanted to sit there and, make a new show involving Velma, I would prefer if it had, some sort of different plot line, or at least something interesting. Like, not sit there and just change Velma completely like as if she was a different person. I don't understand that. That's why I don't understand it. Like, Velma herself is just a complete disgrace to Scooby-Doo in this new Velma series. I think it just makes Velma look bad in a sense, but we'll get to that in a bit, shall we? Like, the one thing I'm going to be saying right now about Velma is like, if they want Velma to be like a different character, but why is she in a different race? Like, why not just sit there and make a different character? Besides changing Velma's race swap around. I mean, that's actually one of the reasons that caused the controversy of Velma to go downhill. I mean, just look at it. Look at the photos, images, and even some videos of Velma you'll know how absolutely really messed up it is. And what is this? I mean, they pretty much are trying to make Scooby-Doo look bad because it's pretty much adult parody of Scooby-Doo, or aka a South Park version or Family Guy version or whatever of Velma. I mean, Scooby-Doo was always for kids. I mean, yeah, I know there was a few Family Guy parodies of Scooby-Doo and Robot Chicken as well, but that's besides the point. I mean, just take a look at, Velma. She was like the smartest one in, those Mystery Inc. back, when Scooby-Doo was formed. She always proven to be the smart one. But I think for this new show, Velma, she absolutely just kind of acts like she's kind of half dumb and half stupid and half smart. But at the same time, it's just... This show was quite disappointing to a lot of people, even people who were fans of Scooby-Doo. I mean, take a look at Norval Rogers, who is also known as Shaggy. I mean, they kind of swap his race, and they even change a bit of his, aspect of it. It honestly just felt disappointing. I honestly just don't understand why, they had to change the Scooby-Doo characters. I mean, race swapping, certain characters in that. But it honestly just... I don't know. It's just really poorly made. And that's honestly one of the reasons why I just honestly don't understand why they had to change Velma to be like a completely different person. I mean, yeah, there are some adult shows that have characters that are stupid and all, but they manage to do them quite well. It's just for Velma, it's just honestly didn't really work. I don't really understand why they had to change some characters. It just doesn't feel like a new Scooby-Doo. It's just, honestly, a garbage excuse for it. Oh boy. This is kind of one of the reasons why I'm honestly have no idea what on earth this show really is. I mean, yeah, I know Velma was a pretty good, character in Scooby-Doo, but in my honest eyes, it's just really stupid to make Velma... I mean, I think this show is just trying to make all the characters look bad. I mean, Daphne and Fred don't even look the best. It's just... I really don't understand why they couldn't just make a decent Scooby-Doo, plot line, or at least a decent show. I mean, if they were gonna do maybe a mature themes for mature themed, show of Scooby-Doo, I mean, they would have to at least know what they're doing and put the humor right, just for Scooby-Doo to even work if they were going to make it. But nope, they sat there and just decided to say, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and, we'll make this crappy version of Scooby-Doo because who the hell says so? But another thing I do notice is about, Shaggy Rogers, also known as Shaggy Norval. He's referred to in Velma as Norval Rogers, which is technically Shaggy's real name in the Scooby-Doo franchise, series. But unfortunately, this is just due to copyright that they couldn't really use Scooby-Doo as a character or some of the Velma characters or whatever. They had to, kind of make it, their own or something. I mean, I don't know if this is fan-made or whatever, but I think this show, as I see it, is just a pretty much a disgrace to the Scooby-Doo franchise. Never thought I would even see this goddamn show, but this show just sucks. It just sucks, and it's shit. It's horse shit. It's like it's a poor attempt to try to make a good Scooby-Doo concept in that. I mean, if you're gonna do this, but with Scooby-Doo, you gotta make sure you know how to use the mature themes and even adult jokes for Scooby-Doo properly. And the creators obviously needs to know what the actual hell they are doing. In this, on the other hand, it's just... There's a lot of things I can say about this story that is... Well, not story, but the whole storyline of it, it just absolutely just falls flat. It's kind of why a lot of people really make videos talking about Velma, saying how god-awful the show is. And that's not the worst part. All the characters just don't act like how they originally were in the original Scooby-Doo series. Like, first we got, Scooby himself. He's like the dog who is best friends with, with the gang, and his best friend is Shaggy, and they go and solve mysteries and everything. yeah, Scooby's like the main character and the main reason why they start Mystery Inc. Shaggy's pretty much like the geek who likes to, smoke weed or something, and he's like the kind of a geek, and he starts, sitting there, getting scared all of a sudden. Velma was the smart one, while meanwhile Daphne being, kind of like the polyamorous woman, pretty much, who flirts with other guys in front of Fred, and he acts like he doesn't care when she flirts with him. Well, meanwhile, when Fred flirts with another girl, Daphne gets upset. So Daphne is pretty much a hypocrite in the whole show and aspect. And we have Fred Jones, who is pretty much the leader of the gang. None of the characters in Velma are like the original ones that I grew up to watch. That's honestly very disappointing. And not only that, that just makes me hate this show. It honestly just doesn't look good. I mean, I was a pretty good fan of Scooby-Doo, and I'm still a diehard fan of Scooby-Doo, despite the fact that I'm pretty much, going to be 25 in the summer. This show is just honestly just downright terrible. I honestly don't understand what everybody's problem is with this whole Velma show. It just honestly just doesn't make it look good. Like, Velma's pretty much just more of a sassy, bitterness bitch in the show. That's pretty much what Velma is now, because she's not like the original Velma, who is smart, always, kind to, everybody in the gang and help solve mysteries and that. That just makes Velma look bad. I think it's just trying to give Velma a bad name, because she was never like that in Scooby-Doo. Like, Google it right now. You'll see what I mean. Like, look at Daphne. She's like a stuck-up bitch in Velma, which kind of gives Daphne a bad name. I mean, if the original Daphne could see herself in this, as well as the rest of the gang, they honestly could pretty much agree with me that this show is shit and garbage. Like, who the fuck's idea was it to sit there and, think that Velma could make a pretty good success? And it's going downhill every second I watch it. And Fred is also pretty much a man-child in this series. And it honestly just doesn't make any sense on why Fred is, like, acting such a goddamn man-child. Like, Fred was never a man-child in the original series, because he was always smart, and Velma was more smarter, but he was at least planned out plans. He actually liked Daphne a lot, and it is hinted in Scooby-Doo somewhere that he did have a crush on her in that. I mean, look at the live-action Scooby-Doo movies, like the first two. I mean, that was pretty awesome, the live-action adaptation of Scooby-Doo they did, but with Velma, though, it doesn't work. The whole thing just flat out did not work at all. And I think with the whole show on its aspect, they're changing the characters, personalities in that, because I think it's copyrighted or something. And yeah, I could honestly see Hanna-Barbera shaking their heads at this disgrace of a show, because all the characters of Scooby-Doo were never like the ones in Velma. It's not even Scooby-Doo. It's a poor excuse of a knockoff of Scooby-Doo. In my eyes, that is. Like, take a look at the animations for it. It's okay, but I wish it could have been maybe a little bit more better, because in this one, it kind of is almost like Beavis and Butthead, kind of like, not really style or anything, but it's kind of like similar to pretty much have almost like Beavis and Butthead look bad, if that makes sense. The humor of this is just straight up awful. They're not even using the adult jokes or, satire comedy or whatever right. Like, I mean, they are not using the humor in it correctly. It's like they're using it as a poor excuse of humor. I mean, the humor's not even funny. Not even the jokes were funny, like in the original Scooby-Doo series. The original Scooby-Doo series had pretty good humor, and they knew how to use it very well, come up with some new jokes in that. With Velma, on the other hand, the show just lacks the humor. That's honestly what I see in this show. Like, when I obviously watched this, few clips of Velma, I honestly have no idea why people were having controversy over it, because a lot of people hated it when I first saw it. I ended up deciding to do research, and yeah, I have to say right now, the show absolutely is terrible. I don't really recommend you guys watching this. This is why I'm not even going to bother watching Velma, because I think at this point, it's trying to make the Scooby-Doo characters, gender shame, body shame, race shame, aka race swap as well. The humor of it was just terrible. The jokes are not funny. It's just not great. I mean, I think it's trying to make, the Scooby-Doo characters look bad in a way. But what I would have been liked if this was, originally Scooby-Doo, but not made in this, crappy animation, make it somewhat better. I mean, a spin-off of Velma would have been nice if it did not involve any of this stuff that I stated before of what made the show terrible. The show would have been alright or decent. But at this point, it's just garbage. I pretty much just ripped it apart in many ways I can count. I'm honestly have no idea whose idea it was to think that this was, a good idea. But this show honestly needs to improve, but I highly doubt it's ever going to improve. If you don't want to waste any brain cells, people, don't bother watching Velma. Go watch Scooby-Doo, Where Are You series. That series is 1,000 times better than this show. This show was just as bad as, Be Cool Scooby-Doo. Although Be Cool Scooby-Doo, I'm giving it was somewhat decent, but it just kind of looked more like a mixture of Family Guy and Rick and Morty animation. But despite that, don't watch Velma if you don't want to know how terrible it is, because I already explained it. It's terrible. But like I said before, this is just my opinion on Velma. If you disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these shows. This is just my opinion. Now, anyone who likes Velma, I respect your opinion. I respect your opinion if you like it, but I'm sure most of us agree that Velma sucks because it honestly is trying to make Scooby-Doo look bad with a bunch of things. The humor's not funny. The animation's somewhat okay, but it could have been better. But why are they trying to picture Velma as, looking bad? That's the question I'm afraid I'm not going to have answered for a long time. Who knows? Maybe somebody can answer it. Anyways, I guess that's just it. I'm done, ripping and tearing this show Velma into a brand new one. I mean, if you guys think, that I could have, maybe give me some ideas that I may have. I mean, I might do a part 2 of it if I ever do get more into it, but if I get more information of it. But in all due honesty, this show's garbage. Animation's not really good. It was pretty much just a place just to, get people to hate the show, and I don't ever plan to touch this story with, not just the story, but the storyline of it was just terrible. I would not touch the show with a 50-foot pole. That was just honestly why I don't even plan to even take one look at this story. The storyline of it is just terrible. It's poorly written. The characters are not done right. It's just garbage. But anyways, what did you guys think of the show? If you dislike the show, I respect your opinion. If you like the show, I respect your opinion as well. So I guess that being said, and that being the case, I'm the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're new to my channel, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new, and ring the bell for notifications when I upload. Also, be sure you sub to my backup channel, also known as Miss Dark Shigo. Feel free to go check that channel out as well. I have it in the About page section of my, channel page, so you guys can go and, sub to that one if you haven't. But anyways, yeah, I'm done taking a look at Velma and even ripping it to shreds. If I find anything more to do it, I might do a part 2. But other than that, I'm just done ripping it to shreds. If there's any reason of why Velma sucks or whatever, and you guys want to state what it is that I missed, feel free to leave me those in the comments below. As always, I'll be seeing you all next time, and roll the outro because I'm out and I have to go get my brain fixed after watching this terrible excuse of Scooby-Doo, Velma. Yeah, so any of you guys who are curious about Velma, don't bother watching it. You would lose brain cells if you ever do. Anyways, I'll see you all next time.